Hi, this is Gianni with a 3-day trip report from the lower Salmon Gorge launching on July 21st from Hammer Creek. River flow is about 8,000 CFS. We took the typical run down to Heller Bar, spent 2 nights on the river. We had 8 people all together across 4 boats. This is a 13-foot air wave destroyer. Chad has a 16-foot air jag, and Rod was whirring on a 16-foot gear boat, and then Darren right there in front of us with his 3 kids was on a 14-foot round boat with the center frame. We did not have a good night sleeping, and Hammer Creek Campground was hot and noisy, and if I did it again, I would definitely drive up, put on the river, get a few miles away, and spend the night on a nice beach camp by myself. It was not great, and we were pretty tired on the first day, but managed to make it through. Took a nap in the afternoon once we got to camp. These are some pictures along the way. And this rapid is Demon's Drop. There's some large curling laterals coming off the left wall. It was a pretty fun little bouncy ride. Just have to keep your nose pointed into those laterals and tee up. This was Darren's first time on the water in quite a while, and his kid's first time on a multi-day trip. So we did a lot of checking back on them. They did a great job and actually settled right into the river style and had a great time on the water. There they are finishing up Demon's Drop, and this is Pine Bar Rapids. Had a nice big punch right there. We set up camp right near Lorna's Lulu, cooled off in the water for the afternoon, took a nice nap, and had a quiet evening. Next morning was very gorgeous. Feeling refreshed, we put back on the river. Here's a little 360 view of the canyon. And first up was Harm's Hole. Pretty easy entry, and you just need to miss the big hole at the bottom right of the rapid. Right there. There comes Harm's Hole right there on the right. Pretty easy to avoid. Bodacious Bounce is up next. It's just a nice, fun wave train. There's the canyon walls tower above you. It's really gorgeous views. Sun on one side and shade on the other. It's followed up by half and half. There's a big hole right in the middle at the top of the rapid, right there. And then another hole down at the bottom right, so you get around the first hole and then drive a little bit to your left and skip this hole right here on the right. We kind of plowed through it, but just getting a little piece of it, no problem. We pulled over to scout Snowhole Rapid. It's the first class 4 rapid of the trip, and we watched a few boats that went way left, but I think the better line is right of center, avoiding the top hole and the bottom right hole. Basically just need to skirt each one. There's a nice big eddy on the right hand side, so we pulled over and got to watch the 2 round boats come through. This is a 14 footer with the kids. They had a nice clean run. They're a little farther left than I was. A couple little laterals there, but not a problem. And then Rod, really, it's all in the setup, and he really didn't have to even touch the oars. He just sailed on through on the gearboat. Getting the right line is critical, and it's all about the setup. Right below Snow Hole, there's some nice cliff jumping spots and also some good fishing. Next up is Class 3 Plus China Rapids, which has a big hole at the top right there. Just need to go left of that and then just stay left to avoid much of the rapids. I'm sure there's a few more lines in there. We just didn't scout it. We just ran it and didn't have any problems. But if you want to play around, I'm sure there's a few different lines to look at and make a run at this China Rapids. The river widens out for a bit. There's a beautiful shallow section, super clean water. We just watched all the cobbles float by underneath the boat. It's really cool. And next up is Wapshila. Some fun little surf waves. It takes you from River White all the way to River Left. Here is S turn. It's a little right, and then you go left and back to the right. It's just before Flynn Creek. I managed to shove my left tube in the eddy a little bit and did a little spinorama. You can see all the hydraulics there boiling off the rocks on the right hand side. Pretty middle of the rapid. Beautiful section of the river. There's a nice house up there on the hill on the left. And this is Flint Creek. Ran it down the left hand side. And the canyon comes right back down to the water again. This is Blue Canyon section. Here's where you get to encounter the famous, or maybe infamous, slide rapid. There's a big rock slide. It ends up compressing the river even more. And when you get above 22,000 CFS or so, it becomes pretty difficult to avoid a flip. I think most boats go through there and flip. Need a strong downstream ferry and drive through the laterals on the left-hand side to get through there. There you can see the slide on the right. Here's Sluice Box. It's a class 2 plus, some fun little waves bouncing us along. And then after this, we got a nice campsite near Checkerboard. You'll see that coming up here on River Left. It's a great spot in the canyon. Try and get us out of the sun, out of the heat. This is our camp spot for the second night. Beautiful little beach. Nice and glassy water in the morning. Beautiful sunrise. Chad found a nice fishing hole off to the left there, right off those rocks. I think he caught a fish every cast for about 10 casts in a row before he got bored with it. Day 3 is mostly class 2 rapids. It's pretty mellow. And then you have a very long paddle out, or not too bad with a motor. This is Checkerboard Rapid to start the start the third day, our last day on the water. This is Eye of the Needle, last class 3 on this trip. There's a big rock to avoid at the top, right there, and then a nice little fun wave train all the way to the bottom. Even got a little surfing in, just to keep myself entertained. Right there, and then it kicked us off and into the eddy. It was over fast, nice and fun. Below this is where it starts to get pretty slack and you end up at the confluence. So right there on the left is the Snake River coming in. We're on the Salmon and they come together and you get the Snake. Turning around, looking upstream, that's the Snake River Canyon on the right. Salmon coming in on the left. To get out, we tied up our boats together with some cam straps. We had a little 5-horse Evinrude motor attached to the frame on the gearboat, and that was quite enough to get us motored out. It was really nice getting through. A few of the rapids are worthy of breaking up so you don't get bounced against each other or potentially lose the motor, bang it up. So we broke apart. This is Wild Goose, and after this, we were a couple more miles and we were back at Heller Bar for the takeout. And that's our trip report. Lower Salmon, mid-July, always a good time to be on the Salmon.